Hi, this is John Craig, and I'd like to talk to you about how my true legacy came about. I had a good relationship with my father, and I guess, we were very cordial to one another and never fought or anything like that. And but I always felt I wanted to know more about him and get closer to him. I had these grand plans, sort of, in his later years to sort of take him away for a weekend and just get to know him a bit better. And I guess I always put it off, and it was hard to sort of break that barrier. I had a phone call one day from my mother, and she was actually away at the time herself, but she was rushing home to see my father because he'd had a seizure, which we were all surprised about, and he ended up in hospital. And so I jumped on the next plane I could the next day from Brisbane. He called and said he needed some new pyjamas in the hospital room. So I said, look, I'll go and take those to him and see what else he needs. And on the way back to the hospital, I kind of, I thought, I really want to say some things to my father. I don't know how long he's going to be around. So I walked into the hospital room and gave him what he needed, gave him his pyjamas and something to drink, and it came for me to leave, and I just knew in my heart I just had to say, in case this was the last time I saw him, what I felt. And we just looked at each other, and I just started crying, and I just said, I love you, Dad. I'm so proud of you, and you've been a wonderful father. And he just broke down, and I just remember he said to me, he looked at me, he said, was I? And that just, it was just so hard to hear, because I'd never said it before. From that point on, our relationship just changed for just in an amazing way. I just thought, my God, I'm so glad I did that with him, made that connection. And but there was just so much about him that I just didn't know about, and I wish I'd had more time. And I'd regretted that I hadn't, or we hadn't done that years ago, had that close relationship where he knew who I was, I knew who he was. And but within a couple of weeks he'd had another seizure and he was back in hospital, and he never came out. And we actually had some old video of him as well, he was an old cricketer, so we had a bit of vision of him talking about cricket. Afterwards, I kept referring back to that vision of him talking, just to remember him by. And I was wondering, I wish I'd had more of that vision, but also more of him talking about his life and his feelings, his values, all these things I didn't know about him. and we'll never know about him. It was at that point I realised, if I can offer this to other fathers, the opportunity to be filmed on camera, talking about their lives, stories, yes, but some of the deeper stuff that they've never really discussed with their families through fear or feeling embarrassed or whatever the emotion is. I know how it feels. I've been through it, I resisted it, and I regret it. But if you feel like there's something you want to say, there's something that would complete and relieve you of any burden, the value to this for your family is immeasurable. It is just, I feel, one of the most healing, important things that can be left to your family. So take the leap. It's more than worth it. Thank you.